Please make it half the length. The alarm, always the same sound, 23 years. It echoed in the quiet dawn, a signal, another day, just like the last, no escape, just the steady, heavy march, a march I knew too well, my life, a well-worn track, the job, my hands knew the motions, my mind somewhere distant, lost in the hum, the noise of machines or the click of a keyboard, repeating, endlessly. I was a part, a piece, efficient, reliable, but was I truly there? The breaks, small gaps in the long day, always measured, always the same length, a moment to breathe, but the air felt stale. The clock watched, ticking, ticking, stealing my time, my life slipping away. Home again, the day done, or so it seemed. Bills were paid, yes, duty fulfilled. But a hollow feeling grew, a quiet ache inside. This routine, this cycle, it was a cage, and I was trapped within. For years I ignored it, this feeling deep inside, this wasn't living, it was just existing. A whisper started then, a quiet voice questioning, is this it? Is this all I am? The questions grew louder, refusing to be silenced. I felt like a shadow, moving through my days, unseen, unfelt, even by myself. The colors of my spirit, they were fading, turning to gray. The world felt dull, I was becoming numb, losing touch with me. The mirror showed a stranger. His eyes looked tired, so very tired. Not just from lack of sleep, it was a soul-deep weariness. Where did I go? The real me, the one who dreamed. He was lost somewhere, buried under years of routine. I was dying inside, slowly, quietly. It wasn't a sudden pain, it was a gradual decay, like a flower starved of light. I paid my dues, I did what was expected, but I was forgetting how to live, how to feel. Something had to break. Childhood, it wasn't all sunshine, not for me. Reality bit early, hard. Responsibilities landed on my small shoulders. They felt heavy, like stones in a young boy's pockets. I learned to walk with them. Quietly, without complaint. It was just how life was. My world shaped by need, not by carefree play. My journey began there. I was just a lad, full of questions, full of unseen sparks. The world felt like a vast open book then. I wanted to read every single page. But life had a different chapter written for me. A script I didn't choose myself. Necessity was the true author. It pushed me onto a path of early toil and duty, my own story put on hold. So very young, starting work. It wasn't a dream I eagerly chased. No, it was a stark reality I had to face. My family needed me. It was as simple and as complex as that. There was no real debate, no other option truly considered viable. The weight of that unspoken understanding, it settled deep within my young mind. So I stepped up. I did what was required. I traded my school books, my boyish games, for the tools and demands of a working life. Too soon, far too soon. My youth felt like a fleeting season, a brief, hurried whisper, gone before I truly had a chance to savor it. While other lads were discovering themselves, exploring their nascent passions and dreams, I learned about duty, about endless deadlines, about the relentless, soul-crushing grind. It wasn't bitterness I felt back then. Not really, just a quiet, resigned acceptance of my lot. But a vital part of me was fenced off. A hidden garden left untended, unwatered, waiting for a spring that never seemed to arrive. Dreams? Oh yes, I certainly had those. They spoke of vibrant colors, of beautiful sounds, of a life lived with purpose and passion. But these dreams were so very fragile, easily overshadowed by the pressing demands of each long day. That first paycheck was tangible proof I could provide, but it also felt like another link in a chain. My dreams? They were carefully, gently folded, put away for safekeeping, or so I tried to believe. Day after day, week after week, year after year, my own creative sparks, my inner melodies were gently hushed, told to wait. This became the unchanging soundtrack to my life. It effectively drowned out the delicate, beautiful music of my own soul. They just receded slowly, faded into the background, almost forgotten, almost. The years rolled on, one blending seamlessly into the other. My rigid routine was my only anchor, and yet, it was also my inescapable prison. Wake, work, eat, rest, then repeat. But what about the inner landscape? My internal world was becoming increasingly desolate. Those long nights in the car became a strange, lonely ritual. A profound, bone-deep weariness settled in. This can't be it, I'd think despairingly. The numbness was like a heavy, damp cloak. It muffled joy. It was a slow, insidious, gradual erosion, chipping away relentlessly at my very core. My true self became a distant, faded memory. The fire within was fading inexorably to cold, gray embers. The routine. It wasn't just dull now, it felt like a physical weight, crushing me, day by day, The numbness was a thin blanket, too thin to hide the pain, this constant ache. It grew louder, sharper. I was no longer just fading, I was actively breaking apart. Sleep gave no comfort. Waking was a fresh torment. Another day to endure. My body felt heavy, tired. My mind screamed silently. Small rebellions flared. A misstep, a lost thought. The old ways of coping, they were useless now. All defenses crumbling. Then a normal Tuesday, or so it seemed. A child's drawing on the fridge, unseen for weeks, now vivid. A splash of innocent color. In my gray monochrome world. It caught my breath. A tiny, sharp pinprick. Right through the hardened shell. Suddenly I could almost feel. The pressure built. An invisible, tightening band. Around my chest, my head. The world outside seemed warped, distorted, unreal. I was stretched so thin, a thread about to snap. This couldn't go on. Something had to give way. The edge was so very close. That one morning, it started like any other, yet the air felt charged. Or perhaps I was the one charged. Electric, brittle. The slow walk to the bathroom, familiar cold tiles beneath my feet, but a shift had occurred, deep inside, unspoken. Something was already broken. I looked in the mirror, truly looked. For the first time in years, not just a quick, dismissive glance, the eyes staring back. They were not my own, hollow, vacant, lost. A stranger lived in my skin. This face, this empty mask, who had I become? The shock was a cold wave, washing over me, through me. This wasn't just weariness, this was an utter absence, a void where a soul should be. Then, the thought, chillingly clear. I am a machine, efficient, functioning, soulless. The horror of that truth, it threatened to swallow me whole. Enough. The word echoed, not in the room but within me. A profound seismic tremor, deep in my frozen core. A crack appeared in the dam of years of resignation, a tiny, desperate spark, the first flicker of defiance, a whisper that roared with silent power. The decision began to form, not a clear, detailed plan, but a fundamental, irreversible shift. I wasn't made just for this, not just to survive. This came from somewhere deep, an ancient buried knowing, a total rejection of that mechanical life. My existence had to mean more. It simply had to. Fear, yes, it was there. A vast cold ocean of it. The unknown loomed immense. But beneath the fear, something new, a strange, unexpected lightness. The heavy burden of pretending, of simply enduring. It began, slowly, to lift. A tiny flame of hope flickered. I was made to create. The thought surfaced. From where? I did not know. A forgotten childhood dream, an inner voice, long silenced. It felt like pure truth. A fragile compass point. In the overwhelming darkness, a reason, a direction, a purpose beyond mere existence. This moment, this breaking, it was not an ending, it was a brutal, necessary birth. The old self lay in ruins, shattered beyond repair. The new self, unformed, uncertain. But a flicker of will had ignited, the first terrifying step, into the vast echoing void, guided by a fragile new idea. The decision to create. It wasn't born in a vacuum, it was an ancient stirring, a faint, persistent memory. Music. It had always been there. A quiet pulse beneath the factory's roar, beneath the office's sterile hum, a forgotten language of my own soul, waiting patiently to be rediscovered. As a boy, rhythms were my secret game. My fingers would tap on school desks, on dinner tables, on window panes, humming little tunes only I understood, a natural, untaught instinct. There were no lessons back then, no gleaming instruments in my hands, just the unadulterated, simple joy of sound, my own private, vibrant musical world, a sanctuary from harsher realities. I didn't have a name for it then, this innate urge, this inner driving beat. The adult world offered its own labels. Stop fidgeting, they'd say. He's always daydreaming, they'd observe, but it was more, so much more. It was the sound of my spirit, my soul attempting to articulate itself, trying desperately to find its true voice, in a world that didn't seem to listen. Now, after all those intervening years, after the profound shattering, the breaking point, the accumulated debris of a life half-lived, it felt as if it had been cleared away, that faint, almost imperceptible pulse. It was growing stronger now, becoming a clear call, a beckoning, a gentle, insistent invitation, towards something I had unknowingly yearned for so very, very long, a pathway back to the core of myself. The idea felt utterly immense, and frankly, quite terrifying. Music? Me? Starting now? At this age? Beginning from absolute zero, from nothing? But that tiny spark ignited at the breaking point. It was surprisingly stubborn, insistent. It whispered again and again, why not? Just try. What more do you truly have to lose now? So, I listened, really listened, for perhaps the very first time in my adult life. to that quiet, hopeful inner voice. My very first step was a hesitant one. A simple search on the internet. How to make beats. Beginner music production. A completely new, alien world suddenly opened up. MIDI controllers looking like complex keyboards. Digital audio workstations or DAWs. Software with names like FL Studio, Ableton Live. It all felt so incredibly alien, overwhelming. But alongside the fear, a different feeling surfaced. A genuine, unexpected thrill, a sense of adventure. I eventually bought a MIDI controller. A small, unassuming one, affordable. It felt foreign, almost strange in my hands. These hands, so accustomed to heavy tools, to the repetitive strain of factory work, or the monotonous tap of an office keyboard. This was profoundly different. This felt like potential. A small plastic box of unknown, exciting possibilities. I spent countless hours watching online tutorials, absorbing information, learning the basics, taking copious notes like a student again. Day one, learning from zero. This phrase became my quiet, internal mantra, a reminder to be patient with myself. No undue pressure, no unrealistic expectations, just the simple, honest act of beginning. The very first click of a mouse in the software. The first hesitant, fumbling press of a key, making so many mistakes, getting things wrong, sounds clashing, rhythms all over the place. But I was trying, truly, genuinely trying, and that felt like progress itself. My first beats were clumsy, awkward, nothing like the music in my head, but even in the mess, I felt something new. Joy, ownership, and a heartbeat that was finally my own. Each imperfect note was a small victory, a sign that music was reviving parts of me I thought were lost. Making music became my therapy, quieting the noise in my mind and letting me feel hope, wonder, and even a gentle sadness that felt honest. Each session was a sanctuary, helping me transform old pain into acceptance and a sense of coming home to myself. Music turned into meditation, a way to focus, to be present, to connect with something deeper than words. Each beat became a ritual, teaching me to listen, to be, and to find meaning in the act of creation. Music's presence rippled into my life, inspiring mindfulness, journaling, and a sense of spiritual connection rooted in simple, intentional living. My humble studio became a sacred space, dissolving isolation and making every moment feel vibrant and alive. Sharing my music online was terrifying, but I pushed through the fear, hoping to reach someone who needed hope as much as I once did. Clicking upload was an act of courage, for the forgotten kid inside me, and for anyone longing to create. The response was unexpectedly kind. Others saw themselves in my story, and a real community began to form. Sharing my journey became a calling, proof that vulnerability and creativity can spark hope and connection for us all. My life split between then and now, from numb routine to vibrant creation, shows it's never too late to start. No matter your age or fear, you can come home to your truest self and let your song be heard. This journey, this music, this story, it is not just my own private victory, it is an open invitation to you. Yes, you, reading these words right now. What is that quiet dream you hold? That passion you tucked away long ago? That creative spark you were told to ignore? Let it breathe. Give it some air. Perhaps it's a musical dream like mine, or something else entirely. It doesn't matter. The most important word is start. Start messy. Start imperfectly. Start afraid. Start with absolutely no clue. It truly doesn't matter how you begin. Just begin. Take that one small step. Give yourself the precious gift of permission. Permission to try. Permission to explore. Permission to fail. And then to try again. That initial movement, however small, it holds the most incredible transformative power. This channel, this space we are building, it will continue to grow and evolve. I will keep sharing my musical explorations. More tutorials on beat making for beginners, detailed breakdowns of the tracks I create. And also, those deeper spiritual reflections, the lessons I am learning along this path. This is not a polished, finished product. It is an ongoing journey shared in real time, and I truly hope you will join me. Thank you, from the very bottom of my heart, for watching, for listening, for being here. Your presence means more than words can say. I would love to hear from you. What is something you've always wanted to do, but never quite gave yourself permission to try? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe, like, turn on notifications, because believe me, this is only the beginning.